What is up, buddy? It is your boy Drift. We are back with a reboot to the podcast. We have my boy Shinobi radixan with us. His episode was up on the channel. I'm going to go ahead and republish it, but he is going to be the new co host. We're kind of restarting, so we're going to go ahead and hop into it. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
What up, y'all? Shinobi Radixan. If y'all didn't peep that, that was like a while back. But just quick summary. Do YouTube. Really into music. Might get back into that. Did that for a little bit back in the day. Um, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and hop into the podcast. Like I said, we're also gonna talk about how we're both restarting content. He recently also got a PC. I also got a PC. So everything's been new and changing for us. Currently went from console to PC, so I've been playing mouse, keyboard, playing all kinds of games, and restructuring like my stream with being able to add and do more because it's easier on PC. And obviously, he started to record again. So yeah, like he said, we're gonna go ahead and hop into the day's theme. And today's theme, we're actually gonna be talking about top five upcoming games for 2026 that are coming out, or even 2027. I don't know if you have any on your list for 2027, but mostly 2026 for mine. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about that, and we're just gonna generally be doing that going forward. Like he said, he's also in the music. I'm also in the music. We might do things revolving around music, gaming. The last time you guys watched the podcast, it was kind of about like sports. We're kind of stepping away from sports and focusing more on like culture, gaming, shows, movies, things like that. Like kind of change it up a little bit. So, do you want to go first with your list, or you want me to go first?
Uh, you go first. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
All right, bet, bet. So I have one honorable mention, just because like I wanted to include this, but it's not like a game; it's more of like a DLC, and that is the Monster Hunter Wilds DLC that's coming out. It's technically supposed to
Okay.
be like an extension to the game, as in like I mean like a whole another game, kind of like how the Elden Ring DLC was, where it was almost like a full ass like game. That's kind of what
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is supposed to be. I don't know if you keep up with that game at all, because I know Miggy plays it. But what's cool about that game is so far they have been letting out like one or two monsters so often for free. So they've been keeping you
Right.
busy until the DLC comes out. But when the DLC comes out, I'm pretty sure it's paid content, but it's gonna be like as big as like the main story was. So you're gonna get like a ton more monsters again to hunt. So I'm really excited to get back into that.
Okay.
The only thing I'm a little like bummed out about is like I said, I switched to PC earlier. I said that in the podcast, so I had to like restart my character. So I kind of have to regrind the game from my console progress. But other than that, it's not that bad. But I'll go ahead and hop into like my number five. I actually have two games tied right here. I didn't want to have two honorable mentions, so I had two tied right here. The first one is a spell. It's called Spellcaster Chronicles. It is like a new hybrid, like 3v3 MOBA kind of. And what
Okay.
it is like it's kind of like League or like Smite or anything like that. But this game is more like a chess match because you actually control like when you spawn your minions. Like you get spells like actually spawned in like the minions that you usually have to clear the waves. So you're kind of
Yeah.
strategizing like what you're spawning in to like slow the enemy down, and you could kind of like stop them from farming in a way. Like I don't know if you know how like games like League work, but like you gotta like farm your fucking like little minions and farm your camps and stuff to get like your level raised in that game. And in this game, you're like
Right.
kind of in control of like spawning everything in yourself and also having like your own abilities and stuff to fight the other player. So when you go in lane with someone, it's like you're controlling what spawns in at what times. So it can be kind of crazy. So it's cool. It's a little 3v3 thing coming out. And then what I have tied with
Okay.
that is the Lego Batman new game coming out. I'm not a big Lego
Hell
fan,
yeah, dog.
but yeah, that
Baby.
that game looks lit. It's Legacy of the Dark Knight, and it's super sick. I honestly, like I said, I'm not a big Lego person, but when I seen that they adapted the actual Arkham game combat into like Lego form, and it was like co-op, so you can
Yeah, that's
play.
that's what sold me too. Cause
Yep.
I used to play like the other ones, and they were cool, but like it feels like they put a lot of love into this one.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, that's a big selling point for me. And it was able to be co-op. I enjoyed when we played Suicide Squad together, and I also enjoyed playing Gotham Knights with my brother. So that was kind of thing that like also kind of swayed me for it to be a
Yeah.
co-op game. The Batman games have actually been underratedly doing a good job at making it co-op and making the universe like feel good to play as a game. Especially because, like you said, the Arkham games were like primarily solo. You play by yourself, so to play like
Yeah.
that, it's kind of cool. And then my next one is something else I'm also very excited for, which this is. I'm not really a big Marvel guy. I played the Spider-Man game because that was like trendy. I watched you play the second one. I didn't play the second one. Your walkthrough was amazing for it. I'll make sure I link that in the description.
Oh yeah.
But I'm super excited for their next project, which is Wolverine. I'm a way
That was on my
bigger.
list too.
Yes, sir. I'm a way bigger X-Men fan when it comes to Marvel and stuff like that. So anything X-Men like Wolverine really, really catches my attention. So I'm super excited for that. And then my third game is technically two games because it's like two of them coming out kind of around the same time. It is Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis and the Catalyst game. They actually announced two of them at the
Okay.
Game Awards at the same time, so we're getting like back-to-back drops. Those games look amazing. I still want to go back and play the Tomb Raiders that I'm missing, so that's something that's on my bucket list. But those games obviously looked amazing, and they seem to be like they're ported good for PC too, so that's super exciting. And then my second one is a new Souls-like game that everyone's been talking about. I kind of seen Jeff review it. I didn't really know about it until I actually watched him review it, and then I watched it at the Game Awards again. And that is
Mm.
Phantom Blade Zero, which is more of like a Sekiro Samurai type one, kind of. But it just
Okay. Okay.
looks super sick. I haven't played a game like Elden Ring since Elden Ring, so I'm super excited to play something like that. And from what I see, it's super sick. It's kind of similar almost to Wukong. I'm pretty sure you played that game. Yeah, it's super similar, or maybe I think you played the game. I don't know, but it's super
Yeah.
similar to that, and in the sense too, where it's like cool because I've seen in the trailer that like most Souls-like games, like have like side bosses and bosses that are like optional that are tied to the like main story in the games. And in this
Right.
game, like specifically, if you decide to like skip a side boss, or maybe you don't like fight this boss at this time, but you go to like progress into the campaign, some of these side bosses have a chance to show up and interfere with the fights, and it ends up making you fight like two bosses at once. So it's kind of like a sacrifice, like, oh, maybe I
Okay.
skipped this guy, but he might pull up on me later, and
Yeah.
get his lip back for skipping him. Like so, it's kind of cool. The concept of it is super sick. And the parry is very like anime style. Like you can parry like multiple enemies at once. Like they showed like a thing in the trailer where he's kind of like surrounded in a circle, and he hits parry
Mm.
at the right time, and he ends up like doing like a backflip like out of the whole pile and like blowing them all back away. So it's a little exaggerated on what your power scaling can be, but yeah, that's super sick. And then my number one game out that hopefully comes out this year. I'm pretty sure it should. It's playable right now if you have access to it. I've been playing it on stream a lot, and that is Deadlock. That is a hybrid of like a hero shooter MOBA, which is primarily hero shooter first, MOBA
Mm.
second. Now, people like kind of underestimate how much of a MOBA it is because it is very important to like farm and get your items right. So, but it's cool because this game is like full control hero shooter movement. Like you're pretty much grabbing characters from like Marvel Rivals or like Overwatch and putting them in a MOBA state, and you're seeing like this wall bouncing and people are like dash sliding, and they have
Okay.
like actually guns and weapons. It's not just like your traditional MOBA style characters. Like you have melee characters still and well like from traditional MOBAs, but you add in a spice of like movement hero shooter, where these guys have abilities that they're able to pop off, and you're managing how to play your character as well as build the items. So it's pretty in depth and it's pretty unique at the same time, and it's a very simplified MOBA. It still matters like
Yeah.
to farm because you want to farm for like currency to upgrade your cards, but it's like a second-hand MOBA to a hero shooter mixed, and it is just amazing right now. I think the character designs are super popular. A lot of streamers like Shroud and a bunch of other streamers have been like really putting eyes on this game, and it's been pretty popular. I mean, for a beta, it's still I guess technically a beta through a code, for it to reach over
Mm.
like 100,000 players active still, and it's not even fully released yet. I think this game is going to be like really big. It could surpass League, maybe. I kind of think it might, just because it's Valve, the people who make CS:GO and the
Yeah.
people who own Steam. So it's going to get promoted. This is their baby. Like this is their one in a lifetime. Like they created this game. I know CS:GO is Valve, like I said, but like they purchased CS:GO. It wasn't like theirs. But this is something
Right.
that
Right.
they're building like from the ground up. That's like their baby. So it's a super fun game. I think it's a really good audience grabber. Like a lot of former Overwatch players are playing it, like Super and stuff like that. And all the Overwatch players who aren't playing Overwatch right now are playing that. More Rivals players are playing that. It's just grabbing a lot of attention from a lot of people. So that's my number one game. I'm super excited for that. But yeah, that was my
Uh,
total list. I mean, there's a bunch of other games coming out that we could probably talk about after you do your list. But let's go ahead and hop into your list.
I mean, I don't have like a particular like 1 through 5 kind of thing. They're just like kind of there. I guess we'll talk about Wolverine and the Batman trilogy since they were already mentioned. The
Okay.
Batman trilogy, I like the fact that they also added like the new Batman was like crazy. That's what like really caught my attention from the trailer because they put that one scene where the car gets flipped with the penguin in it, and I was like, bro, this the one. This is heat. Because it's been so long since I've played like an actual Lego Batman. I think the last one was the villains one. I think that one was co-op, and that one was okay. Because I bring up the co-op because you mentioned it. Uh, that one was okay for me because the camera was just like weird. If they fix that, I feel like it's gonna hit crazy for the
Yeah.
multi. Because for anybody that didn't play that one, the way that the camera worked was like it wasn't just like the top screen, bottom screen, or like left and right. It would rotate, and it was just really like jarring. Like it was not a camera angle that you're like used to. So getting used to it was one thing, and then like you couldn't really control it. And if you like moved far, it would just kind of like get jumpy and stuff. I don't know. Hopefully they fix that because that'd be a cool one to do like a multi thing if you were like into that or if you wanted to play a solo. But really excited for that one. The Wolverine one, I think I just like the fact that like they're starting to be okay with having superheroes be like mature and like R rated. You know what I mean? Because with a character like Wolverine, you kind of have to. Like, there's no way for it to be PG and not go crazy. Like, am I crazy? Is that an L take? I feel like it has to be
Nah.
visceral, like it is in the trailer. And I mean, we talked about this a little bit before, but like people are already complaining about the game and all that stuff. Honestly, from what I've seen, it looks like it's gonna hit. It looks like it's gonna be a banger. I honestly might even surpass Spider-Man. That one might be a hot take, but I do feel like it's gonna be just as successful, if not even more successful, because I from the looks of it, they're doing Wolverine justice, and I'm super excited to see like all the side characters that they're gonna be throwing in. Because if they do work it like the Spider-Man games, there's gonna be a ton of side missions, ton of side villains, maybe even some extra superheroes that they can bring in and stuff. I mean, shit, maybe even Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Who knows? But I'm just excited to see where it goes and like if it is gonna encompass or start to bring in like the other Marvel characters and Marvel games and kind of tie it in. Because I don't think we have like a Marvel Universe game, right?
No, I think the last one was like that PS2 or PS3 one, like the Alliance one. I think was the last one with like a bunch of characters in it.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
But
do remember
to
that.
add on to your
And that
Wolverine
one
take
was not
though,
that good, right?
no, I only played the second one. I don't know about the third one. I know there was more than one. I know that. I only played like a part of the second one. But to
Okay.
add on to your like Wolverine thing, I actually agree with you about the. I don't think it's an L take at all for it to be mature. I think if you look even at the movie scene, like Marvel for a while before like Endgame and Infinity War for a while was like a stretch of it was starting to get boring. Not as bad as it is now. I guess everyone's kind of hoping for Doomsday to save the MCU, but
Yeah.
before it got boring, we got Logan, which to me is his best project and one of the best solo Marvel movies that people like talk about a lot still to this day. And
Oh,
that
for
that
sure.
that movie was super, serious to the comic. We really got to see Old Man Logan, and I think that with an opportunity for you to see that it can work in the new MCU, although Deadpool and Wolverine was kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy Thor like comedy laugh track movie, it still
Yeah.
showed that like the action scenes in that movie, although they weren't as bloody as they were in Logan, it still shows that he can kind of fit in this universe and still make it like borderline like acceptable to be super mature, which is kind of crazy because like if you look at the comics, Marvel is not as dark as DC, but DC is super dark. Their animated stuff is super dark,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Marvel still can like access that kind of point. And I think you know when it comes to me, I'm not trying to sound like biased, but when it comes to the X Men, there's so many opportunities for it to be a little bit more serious and a little bit more set like to a darker tone. So if this Wolverine
Yeah.
game really works, you can explore a lot of things like you said, and with this being Insomniac Games that makes this game as well, it wouldn't surprise me if we get like maybe hopefully like a Wolverine 1, a Wolverine 2, and somewhere in between that, a game between Spider-Man and Wolverine together. I mean, he's got ties to him in the comics. They work together
Mhm.
in the shows. They've have history. Spider-Man is morely in the X-Men universe. Honestly, almost more than he is combined or tied to like the Avengers universe. Like if you look back at like the old like X-Men like shows or like even like the old Spider-Man shows, like they were always around and he was more considered to be friendly with the X-Men, so it would make complete sense for these games to be tied together in a way and you would think you would want it to succeed. So I totally agree with that game. And the overhate thing about this game I'm not trying to overtake your list or anything. I keep talking, but like this is the last thing I'll say. And then you
No,
keep
yeah,
on.
you're good.
I think the hate thing it doesn't really make sense to me because like looking back at like what you just said about like games and hate like the Batman games, everyone loves the Arkham games, and then we got Gotham Knights, and people already immediately hated it before playing it, but like it made sense. I don't agree with hate, but it makes sense because it's a whole different like developer team. Like this was a whole different gaming establishment that made this game, a whole different dev team. But you look at Insomniac,
Right.
and this is the same company that made Spider-Man. Like they're gonna build off of what they know from Spider-Man and put it into this game. It's not like you're getting a completely different studio. Like they obviously have to be working with each other to make this game, successful.
No, yeah, yeah. The hate that I was seeing is more like I guess like a woke take because it was like, oh, he's only killing minorities in the trailer, and he's not sexy enough. And I'm like, we do realize that this is just in a fake setting, in a fake like third world like country thing, right? Like this isn't supposed to mean anything. And on top, it was him not being sexy enough, which is crazy. And then I think it was they were talking about Rogue, I think, also not being hot enough. And it's like, so now we're backpedaling and like going away from nah, the women in video games, they're too over sexualized. And now we're going to like she need bigger titties or something because
Yeah,
she's not hidden. And it's like that's insane. Like that's why you play the video games is just for that. Like I'm in it for like the story, the new mechanics, the different like ties that they can start doing. I don't give a shit about none of that. They could be ass ugly. I'd still play the game if it hits. You know what I mean? As long as it's fun and you enjoy it, play it.
yeah,
But that was the hate that I was talking about. I haven't seen any hate as far as like the actual like game and how it plays. You know what I mean? But I have high hopes. I honestly think that they would have to try to make the game bad at this point. But I mean, it's still super early. We don't, at least I don't think we have like an official release date, right?
I'm not sure. I can look it up real quick. I don't think there is a release date. I think it's just sometime this
Yeah.
year. They showed a little bit more of it at the Game Awards, but I don't think there was a actual release date to the game at all. There might have been. I might have
Yeah.
missed it.
Yeah. So like even if it isn't like super early, they've gotten their feedback, if any, about like the actual game, they'll get it right. But those were the two that overlapped in our list. My list, I'm not gonna lie, it's not like these like big name things. So if somebody is like listening and they're like, "What are you talking about?" It's just games that caught my attention. They're really small, like indie, and it was either from like the art style or it seemed cool and I liked the name and just very simple things. This one I think is already released. It's called Cassette Boy. It's like a puzzle action RPG kind of thing. Really cool. It's like pixel art, and it's kind of like I don't want to say riding like the cozy games trend. You know what I mean? But it's
Yeah,
definitely one of those games. Just lay back, play it, have a good time, and just like let go for a little bit. It is just on PC, I think. It might be on Switch also. But check it out if you're like into puzzle games and stuff. I haven't played many on the channel. At least, actually, I don't think I've played any on the channel. So I might play that one if y'all want to peep it first before like actually buying it. Another one that I've seen and not really like followed, but it caught my attention when I first saw it. Mouse PI. It's black and white, and it's taking from like the old school cartoon look with like like the Mickey Mouse gloves, like Steamboat Willie kind of art style. But it's you're going around and it's just like a kind of like Doom, like a what is it, like a gun and run kind of thing, right?
yeah.
Um, it's really cool. That should be coming out, I think,
It says March 19.
next. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, next month. Really excited for that one. When I first saw it, it wasn't even like full fledged out. It was kind of just like
Early
the little
development.
like dev levels. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what they've done with it so far, like it looks really good. So highly recommend that one. Another one, and I guess the last one for the list is actually get depending on when this drops, it's already out. But as of recording, the 13th of February, Reanimal. It has the same kind of feel of Little Nightmares, but I'm just I'm intrigued to see like what they're able to do. Because if it's just a clone, like cool, I'll still enjoy it because it's gonna have like the same feel. The art style is I don't want to say one to one and compare shit that's not even out yet, but it's very reminiscent. Like you could tell it's gotten
Inspired.
inspiration,
Yeah.
yeah, from the Little Nightmares games, and usually those games like they do it justice. They do the genre justice. So I'm pretty excited. It looks like it's multiplayer. I didn't really look into that, but it does look like it's multiplayer because there's two little characters that are in the promo stuff. But if you like those kind of games where like dimensions and just the scale of things is something that you're really into, that's definitely one to peep because it's got the same thing. Super tall buildings, super weird monster creature things, really big, like misproportioned and stuff. So highly recommend it. That one I haven't really followed, but it just came up on like a recommended thing, and I was like, oh, that seems pretty cool. I'll peep it once it drops.
Yeah, that's a really good list. That Cascade game you was talking about, I looked it up right now when you were also talking about games, and it has a very like graphic style of like the. It kind of reminds me of like the old Pokemon, like Fire Red, like kind of like the Nintendo
Yeah,
graphic,
yeah.
chill like vibe. Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, recently, I've been getting into like old school stuff. So like, kind of like just like detaching away from the phone. So like now with pictures, I always take around a disposable camera. Um, I don't know if you know Hibby, but it's like an MP3 player. They had a Miku collab one, so I had to cop it because like that's the goat. So I got that, and like I'm really into like the retro stuff. So the art style really caught me for that one in specific.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's super sick. It's cool that you're like going back in time and like using that kind of stuff. I mean, not back in time, but like trying to do like a aesthetic. Like it's super sick.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, like, technology and stuff, like, it's cool, you know what I mean? But, like, I feel like a lot of things have lost, like, their own personality. And a lot of the stuff is, like, one to one and, like, kind of the same feel. Everybody's, like, you know, trying to get, like, the best graphics and shit that'll blow up your PC, like,
Yeah.
oh, we gotta make this run like so bad that they gotta buy the newest. You know what I mean? Like, and that's cool. Like some games, I feel like they would need that, depending on the story, but some don't. You know what I mean? Some can have like that pixel art and go crazy. One that well, not just dropped, but like dropped a while ago, Ball Pit. It has that same kind of pixel art. I don't know if you've played it.
No, I have not.
It's kind of like Ball Breaker, like the old game like on the phones where you just like scroll and then you like break the little bricks, right?
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of like that, but you have like a specific character and they have like their own starting abilities. So like one has an ice ball, one has a fireball, one does like mirrored like shooting and stuff, and then you get upgrades and stuff. But it's that same kind of art style, that pixel art style, and it fits well with it. Like it doesn't need to be anything like crazy. And I feel like a lot of people like just get lost in the sauce when it comes to like, oh, I need like the biggest and best. And it's like a lot of times you can just go back to like some OG stuff and then just put a modern twist to it and then it'll hit. So that's kind of why I've been going back into like old school stuff like that.
Yeah, that's super sick.
Yeah.
There's a couple games that we probably missed that we can also talk about too that aren't on our list. I don't know if you've like heard about this game coming out, but it's made by the people who make Pokemon, which is Games Freak. They actually broke free from the Nintendo grasp. You know, they're actually able to make their
Oh, that's
first ever
crazy.
new game, which is called Beast of Reincarnation, and it's coming out this year in the summer. It is also going to be for everything, not just Nintendo, which is super cool. It's their first
Okay.
AAA title. It is definitely getting eyes on it. It's their first non-Pokemon game. It's going to be Unreal Engine 5. The game is a single player experience set in a post apocalyptic Japan in the year of 4026, and it's very much Ghost of Tsushima slash Monster Hunter vibes. At least that's
Ooh,
what it looks like from the trailers. So it's going
yeah,
to be something like that. It's super cool. People are excited for it. This is a big step for them because I don't know if you've kept up with like the Legends, the new Pokemon games. EA obviously graphically, for it to be just on the Switch 2, it just didn't appease people. Like to most people, it looks worse,
yeah.
I guess, which is kind of weird because the game itself is set into like Lumio City, which is obviously everyone's favorite era. But like the things that I personally play, I like the game. Um, I think that the things that people complain about are a little valid because everyone kind of spent money on the Switch 2 and expected it to be better. But I think this is more
Mm,
fault on the Switch 2 than it is the developers because, like I said, the things that people are complaining about to me like are like, oh, the plain buildings look the same, the windows are like flat, there's no like pop out detail, like there's no ledges, it's just like wallpaper and then a different shade of a different color, which
yeah.
is like I guess negative for a game like that because everyone expects the games to look better because it's Switch 2 and then you see like Mario Party compared to that game. But I just think people need to realize that like the Switches are not going to give you, you know, the same graphics that a PS5 or PC is going to give you, and you're definitely not
Oh
going to get
yeah.
over like 60 FPS. Like it's a big step for fucking the Switch 2 to even be close to 60 FPS if it is at 60 FPS. So it's like people expecting all this stuff out of Pokemon is kind of crazy. Like I think you would have a bigger complaint complaining about the new shiny system or the new battling system. That makes more sense than arguing about like the graphics. Like I just don't see where these graphics. I guess maybe it's a hot take, but I don't see where the graphics are a problem thing in Pokemon. I feel like Legends, the last one that came out, Arceus, yes, it looked better than this one, but they're also like not confined to like city. This is the first game where you're
Yeah.
like stuck in a city. There is no wild, so it's like, oh, there's no wild zone, there's no green. It's all brick city streets. I just don't know what you kind of want them to do with that. It's not like this can be as graphical as like GTA or something. So it's very weird, but I'm excited for that
Yeah.
game, and it's got a lot of eyes on it. But I just hope that this isn't a game that's like DOA, Dead on Arrival, before it even gets a chance to thrive because people are gonna be like, oh well, they didn't do good on Pokemon, so this game's probably not gonna be good. I hope that's not the case. There's also some
Yeah.
other popular games coming out, like everyone's kind of anticipating GTA. I didn't want to mention it. I'm not as hyped for it as other people are. I think it'll be fun,
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously,
Same.
but it's like, is it even going to come out this year? Is a big question. It already got delayed once. At this point, I think they can delay that game the next like 2 years and just keep adding stuff to GTA 5 because people will just continuously circle back to GTA 5 to play because they're like determined to be hyped for GTA 6 or the next one or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's some other games we didn't mention. I think they have the 007 game coming out, the remake. That's something that's super cool. It's supposed to go back to like the very niche GoldenEye era, which is not niche,
Oh
but
hell
like the
yeah.
very like it's a niche era of gaming. I mean, not the game itself,
No.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's something that's super cool. We got a couple Star Wars games this year. One of them actually being from the creators of I think like Need for Speed or Forza. They made that racing one. I think they're taking a break. I think it's for people who make Need for Speed. I think they made a racing one where you race like it's from like the Anakin era where he like they race in like the desert kind of and you're racing like the
Yeah.
cars and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. The pod things.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
much like Death Race slash Need for Speed style racing, but obviously with like ships instead of
Okay.
cars.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. I don't know if you have any more you want to mention that weren't on your list that you can think of, but I think those are some of the major ones that are coming out that are coming out. I mean, at least later this year.
Yeah. Um. Not particularly for like stuff that's already or the stuff that's going to come out. Stuff that's already come out. Let me see. Mafia. Mafia the Old Country. Like for somebody who's followed the series, I've played all of them, and it increasingly got better until three. I think three was like I don't know if you've ever played the Mafia games, but basically, and for anybody who hasn't or hasn't watched like any Let's Plays or played them, basically they're all kind of their own game, but they're all within the same like series because it's based on the mafia, right? So you start off and it's really the same story every single time. Some poor dude meets this like dude that's got like over the charts aura. He's like, whoa, what do you do? Don't worry about it, kid. Here's a ton of cash. He's like, whoa, how can I, you know what I mean? How can I get that? And then they teach them the ways, and then you start doing your like little empire and stuff. But the first and the second one was, I say, much more. What's the, I guess linear because it wasn't open world, so to speak. The second one was, but what you did outside in the open world didn't really affect the story.
Yeah.
The story was like, you got to go to this spot, do this thing. If you don't, then the story doesn't continue. It just stays there. The third one, they kind of tried to do a GTA thing where it was open world. There was a bunch of side missions and stuff, but they were all mainly just like pick up side missions. You pick this thing up and then you drop it off, and then cool. Now you got a new unlock. You drive here, steal this car, drop it off somewhere else. Cool. Now you can like get an extra mod. It was very repetitive. It was just not fun. And it was like the one where it didn't really feel like it fit into the series, even though there was characters from the previous ones, not to spoil anything, but there were characters from the previous ones in that one to kind of tie it into everything. But it just it didn't like feel good playing it. But the new one, Old Country, highly recommend picking it up. You don't have to know anything about like the previous games. It's its own new thing because it starts from like the beginning of like when the mafia started back in Italy and everything. It's really good. I did play it. It's not on the channel. I might do something like separate, like a little separate project that I got an idea for it. But highly recommend it. And I feel like it's one of those games that I didn't see get enough love and deserves the love for it.
Okay, that's cool. It's cool that you can pick up the one you're talking about now and play it without having to play the other one. I think that's fair or a good idea for games to do, especially when you want people to like be intrigued in your game series to maybe want to go back and play the other one. So that's super cool. Um, it's kind of crazy that it's been a while like that game has came out. Was there a gap between the third one and that one? Like was there a big gap?
Huge ass gap.
Okay.
I don't know how many like years, but it was like years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to. Hopefully, it brings hype to like the series, and maybe you guys get more. That's really cool. I think for the last couple minutes of the podcast, we'll go ahead and talk about stuff that we, since we're kind of restarting the podcast, and we probably missed a lot of time to cover up the 2026 stuff. We can go back and look at 2025. Maybe you have an opinion on the game of the year. I don't know if you played it, but Expedition 33 ended up winning game of the year. So I kind of wanted to maybe get your opinion if you played the game or from what you've seen of it, if you thought it deserved game of the year, and maybe talk about like some other hitters from 2025 that you liked if you had some that you played. I know you could kind of probably include Arc Raiders in there if you're going to mention that, since you know maybe I don't know if that came out this year or not, but no, definitely last year. But you can kind of
Yeah.
include that if you want to include that since you've been playing that. Talk about games that you actually really enjoyed from last year.
Well, as far as Expedition 33, don't know nothing about it. I'm not gonna lie, like, because it's one of those games where it's an RPG, right? Or
Yeah,
am I
it's
am
a
I tripping?
turn-based RPG. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, turn-based. Yeah. I'm not super into turn-based RPGs like that. Like, I know they get a lot of love. Like, Persona is one of them. This one, obviously. Uh, but I mean, if it deserved it, then like, by all means, you know what I mean. I did hear that the soundtrack is like crazy good.
It
I'm
was
super big
beat.
into like soundtracks and stuff, so that that like stuck out. Because it's like an orchestral soundtrack, I think,
Yeah,
right?
it's peak. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And then I did because I did hear somebody who like just picked it up recently. We're talking a little bit, and he was like, "Dude, I have not picked up a game that made me feel like sentimental about a character within the first like 15, 20 minutes of the game." So just going off of like word of mouth, if that piques your interest, I would say definitely pick it up. I might like if it goes on sale, I might. I need to get used to the game style.
Yeah.
But games in 2025, I did like Monster Hunter Wilds. I played what was the one before it? Worlds, right?
Yeah, Worlds was the one before that. Yeah.
Yeah, I did play that one, and that one was my first like intro to the Monster Hunter world. Didn't really get into it. I think I played it for like 2-ish weeks, and I was like, this isn't for me. But Monster Hunters, I think I yeah, I did actually finish the story. It was just like the end game stuff that I didn't really grind out. But I did like that one. I did main the what was it? The horn, because that shit is crazy.
It buffs your
I was
teammates like
out,
crazy. Yeah.
yes sir. I was out there jamming and shit. I don't think I did any videos for it, but it is fun, especially if you have uh, people to play it with. And that's probably why I didn't really like the first one, because like if somebody wasn't on, I didn't get on and play it. You know what I mean? Like we had to have at least like 2 or 3 people on, at least for that one to play.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
one, I don't know if it's just because like the weapon that I chose was fun to play, but I did find myself just like hopping on and like exploring and stuff. I guess since you mentioned Arc Raiders, I guess we could talk about it. Because I know it's like not for everybody, and I feel like a lot of people kind of like preyed on its downfall, especially because Tarkov was coming out. I think what like a month after that, or a month and a half, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. The hate for it is, I feel like, unnecessary. I feel like they're two completely different things too, especially because you have like the PVE aspect of it and not just the PvP kind of thing. I do not see myself playing it like all that far into the future, just because like it is kind of repetitive. You know what I mean? Like, and this is coming from somebody that before did not like extraction shooters. The only other one that I played, to be fair though, is what was it? It was the Tom Clancy one. What
Oh,
was
the
it?
Division,
Division.
which is most of the
Yeah.
fan base for this game is from that game.
Really? I didn't know that. That's funny because I played it and I didn't like it. I played it, I think, the same thing, like 2-ish weeks, and I couldn't get into it. This one I think is just like it feels different because of that PvE aspect. Like you don't have to go out and like shoot up a squad, take everything, and then dip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they have quests. I don't remember if quest was a thing in the division, just to like get random loot and stuff. But yeah, it's even fun playing solo too, and I think that's why I liked it. Playing solo, the division, that was like not it for me. But yeah, and then one that did drop that I have not played yet, the Donkey Kong one. I'm pretty sure that was 2025, right?
Yeah, that was the end of it. The
Yeah,
Bonanza one or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. That one looks like a lot of. I don't have a Switch 2 though, because I'm broke. But
Same
once I
thing.
do get one, yeah, once I do get one, that's definitely one that I want to play because I heard a lot of good things about it too, and the fact that they brought back the OG design for him is kind of cool.
It was actually in the game of the year running at the end.
Oh damn.
Yeah, I think to circle back some of the stuff you said, we'll start back a little by little, I'll break it down. The Expedition 33 thing you said, I think for most people, that was like the what if part about the game. Like, wow, like playing a like, you know, a a JRPG or whatever. And I think a turn-based
Yeah.
game was kind of like a thing for people. For me, that was my first turn-based one. The game for me,
Oh,
I
okay.
think deserved 10 out. It was a 10 out of 10 game from the characters to the story. I do agree with whoever you mentioned that said that the characters are very connected. I like it was a game where like I sit there and I like enjoy these characters almost as much as if I'm watching like a TV show or an anime. Like I grow to like the characters
Yeah.
in the game. I think the gameplay was 10 out of 10. I think the thing is, and it's just the same type of thing you're talking about with Arc Raiders. I don't think it's for everyone. I think that and this is also going into what you said about Monster Hunter. It's kind of like a connectivity to all of them. I think when you play this game compared to other like turn roll like base games, it's completely different. Like this game is like
Okay.
yes, it's turn based like Pokemon, but like you have a dodge system, you have a parry system. It's not just like you sit there, you attack, they attack. No, it has timing just like Elden Ring bosses.
Okay.
You can time their attacks, you can parry, you can dodge. So it's like it's an inverse game where you can really connect to like the gameplay style more than just it being turn based. So it's vastly different. And then like with the Arc Raiders thing, I think um, I also agree it's not for everyone. I think for me, the reason I don't play it as much, or I didn't play it after like the beta, not that I don't like the game or I'm hating on it. I am very much like you. I think that the community for the game is, like I said, mostly what you just said, Tom Clancy, and it is cool that the PvE part of it is cool, and I think the like hit and miss for it for me is that like that is also like the first action shooter that if you pay attention to people talk about it, like it doesn't really
Mm,
have like inversive loot. Like it's not like a game where like there's a rare gun that like only you can get kind of, if I'm not mistaken from what I've seen.
no, yeah, yeah,
I don't think it's like Tarkov where there's like a chance for this gun to spawn in and you get this as like special loot to take into your vault, or like Delta Force. I played that game for a little bit. It's starting to get some
mm,
popularity again, but those games have like certain loot that is like once in a lifetime loot to get, and this is the same reason why a lot of people
okay,
bag, I guess, on Arc Raiders compared to like the Division, because like the Division is exactly like Arc Raiders. What I mean by when I say the community is mostly built up of that people, a lot of people will tell you they've played that the game and it reminds them of the Division. One, it's third person. Two, like the manting and the movement is exactly like the Division. Like the only thing you can do is like the Gears of War, like run to a wall for cover and then look at another wall and then hold X and then roll and run to that wall for
yeah,
cover and like shoot over your shoulder. That's really like the only thing that's like different as far as movement. And that game was primarily PvE first, and then the dark zone you entered was like the extraction shooter aspect of it. So it's very similar to Arc Raiders. And I think the thing that like for me that like I said makes it boring is that there's just not that like enticing loot. Like most of that stuff is like
yep,
you grind for like gears, like computer parts and stuff like that, and then you use all the crafted materials to craft a tier 3 weapon, if I'm not mistaken. And once you have the blueprint, I guess you kind of have to get RNG and get a good blueprint. That's kind of like the only RNG part, so it is hard to do that, I guess. But like, there's no like longevity to keep playing that game, like Tarkov or like Delta Force or any of the other extraction shooters. There's people still playing those games who have been playing those games for years, and they don't have the best obtainable gun because they just haven't got the drop. They haven't found a player carrying it.
right,
And in those games, this is the L part about those games, I guess, so it's a counteractive thing. But the L part about those games is that obviously people can gatekeep things. Like if I accidentally get like the best weapon in the game, I could obviously put it in my vault and never use it and just keep using like
yep,
free loadouts or shit like that. So that's an L, I guess, in a way. But also at the same time, it's also like everyone else is hunting for that at the same time. So it's still a flex even if that guy doesn't want to use it. It's still a flex because he has it.
oh yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, and then other things you mentioned, I think were like Monster Hunters. I'm also on the same boat as you. I didn't play World as much. I think with these new games is that they came out at the right time. And honestly, I don't want to be the one to admit that I'm kind of like this. I feel like I had just had this debate with one of my other friends. I think that media really controls people's opinions on games sometimes, as far as like TikTok
Oh
being
yeah,
like trendy. I
yeah,
think Arc Raiders is very much a good example of like all my favorite streamers are playing that. All I see is TikTok clips of people playing that. We have Peanut and Jinxie and Sketch and all these funny people actually playing the game, and they're not even really gamers. So it makes you want to like get on and enjoy the game. And I
yeah,
think that really determines like how these games are. I feel like Elden Ring is the prime example of peak end of COVID. Like TikTok, everyone's playing this
oh
game,
yeah,
everyone's doing walkthroughs. That is the most played Souls-like game ever, and half of the people who play the game will tell you that Elden Ring was their very first Souls-like, and then they became
it was
fans of,
mine.
yeah, and then mine too, and then they became fans of the genre, and they went back and they played Sekiro, they went back and they played Dark Souls, and that's not a bad thing. And I feel like Wilds offers a lot of different things. Like a lot of the, it's funny because like a lot of people love the game, but a lot of the like for me, like I know my good friend Isaiah or like maybe even Miggy might play this. They play Worlds, they play the older ones. They've been playing them since forever, and then they look at Wilds and they're like, oh, this is like a dumbed down version of fucking Monster Hunter. Like this is easy, and or this is like boring compared to the other ones. Like or back in my day, I had
Yeah,
to grind for this. Like that kind of like inspo or not inspo, but that kind of like attitude is very much what gets reflected on these games. Kind of just like Elden Ring, honestly. A lot of hardcore Dark Souls fans probably didn't like Elden Ring. I mean, I know when it first came out, it was very like, this game is easy. Oh, everyone's just farming coins
yeah,
to get their builds. Like, it's very like a easier version of the games. Like, oh, like if you want real competition, you would play Dark Souls 2. You would play Sekiro. Like Sekiro's like way harder than this, and that's kind of like a negative thing for these games, but I think in a way it's also a positive thing because it really opens up the game category to a new audience.
yeah. And I guess like adding to that, because you mentioned Pokemon, um, like there's series that have been going on for years. You know what I mean? The fan base has grown with them and everything, but the fan base now, assuming that they've like actually like grown throughout the entirety of it, they now have their own families. They probably have their own kids, and if they don't, then there's still like a new market because it's a completely new generation for the kids. So they're gonna try to make these games appeal to like everybody and not just for like people. And I think that's one of the things that like with Pokemon, I don't think people understand. This is a kids game. I get we played it
Yeah.
for years, but like we were introduced to this as kids. It was made for kids. It's still
Yeah.
for kids. You know what I mean? There's a reason why there's still tutorials that are like 2-3 hours long. It's because they have their market. They know how to cater to that kind of audience. The kids are not gonna care about no graphics on like a building that probably is not even gonna be used. It's just there for like the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just they're I don't want to say they're like entry level games where like they have to make them to get people like into the series. It could be something like it's something in the middle of the series, like you made the second game, but now it's like more appealing to a bigger audience, but it still has evolved from the first one, like that kind of thing. But there are definitely games where it's not so much of a rebrand, but they understand now our market is bigger, we can cater to more people. How do we do that and find like a balance between the two? It's not always gonna be for the generation that continuously followed the series and like followed all the spin-offs and stuff. And you know, I could see how it can be annoying or like you said, oh, back in my day, I had to like really grind for this. So the kids don't know how hard like an actual boss can be. It's like, yeah, cool, grandpa, we get it. You've been through this before. But like,
Yeah.
it's our turn now. Like, we want to get into it. And like you said, it was a lot of people's first Souls-like game. It was my first Souls-like game. The reason I never played Souls-like games was because I've always heard they're gonna kick your ass and you're gonna be there for hours to try to beat like one boss. I mean, I'm gonna throw Miggy under the bus. That dude almost quit this game, Elden Ring, because he couldn't beat one of the mobs. I don't know what they're called, but it's those like giants that got like the hole in the stomach, and there's one that drops before you get into the castle, like the first castle.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if you know what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, or
I
if
think like the
people
god,
listening.
I think the god mask ones or whatever. Like they're like the white dudes, the white like hooded people, like those ones.
Nah, 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 nah.
Nah.
It was like the really, really big giant, and their only attack is like they slam on the ground or something like that. I don't know. But if y'all know what I'm talking about, y'all know. It's right before you get into Godric's castle. There's like one of those.
Oh, I think I do know what you're talking about now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, where he jumps off of like the building or
Yeah,
the bridge or whatever.
like thin, like skinny, like black, like gargoyle looking things with like an axe, right? Like they're the same ones that are like by like that. There's two of them when you go to that portal by like that big ass like white sleeping dragon kind of like.
He struggled with that one too, but nah, I'm talking about a different one. It's not even a main boss. It was like just a minor,
Like
like
an
an
ad, like a
like a yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It was just a man, like a minor one. But like if people like that who have never played Souls like are struggling with just an ad, I can only imagine how they would feel back in the day when it first dropped. Like you're you're gonna be discouraged before even touching the game to like go ahead and play it. Like it's almost like gatekeeping. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I could play this game because you know it's I've been through the worst of it before, and it's gonna be like super easy for me now. It's like okay, cool. Like everybody's gonna get their chance. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't always have to cater to the the old generation, the people that grew with the series. You gotta you gotta let the new kids get into it too. Plus, it's good for you, man. It keeps the series going. You know what
yeah.
I
It's
mean?
it's innovating.
They're a company. They gotta make the money. Sure, they probably already have billions, but still, you know what I mean? The more love that the series and the genre gets, the more opportunities you're probably gonna get a new game, or at the very least a DLC. You know?
Yeah, I think everything you just said is completely valid, especially like the Pokemon thing. I think like one of the things that you can argue, like you just said, that's an argument for like it being games for us is the way shinies work in this game. I think that is the biggest controversy that people are I constantly talking about in this game.
Yeah.
I think like it's to the point where people our age are like shinies are no longer like rare. But I think they got to realize, like you
Yeah.
said, like it's the same thing we just talked about. You got to realize, yes, the game is made for us. The game is easier, and it is, and in that aspect, it's easier to get shinies. But people got to remember, like kids watch people our age play videos or watch videos on YouTube of them shiny hunting, and shiny hunting on the older games is just not for the weak. Like
It's
it's
really
it's
not.
not, dude. Like people buy modded DSs so they can get like
Yeah, I had
faster
a Game Shark
times.
back in the day.
Yeah, like people do these. They hook up their Nintendo Switches or not Switches. They hook up their 3DSs to their PCs so they can run modded versions and have higher shiny odds. Like it was like 1 in a million chances to get shinies back in the day. Like the X and Y era, the Sun and Moon era, it took people months to get a singular shiny, like a singular
Yeah.
one. And once we got
Yep.
to this new era, I think it really started getting bad when we got to like Scarlet and Violet era. Obviously, that's where like
Yeah.
it kind of got
Yeah.
like okay, like this isn't terrible, but it's still like it's different, but it isn't terrible because obviously like the sandwiches people were like they hated it, but they didn't hate it as much as this one. This one is so much easier, like, and I don't think that the people like that people are getting 40 and 50 shiny. I mean, this game is so. I've watched so many videos where you could get 100 shinies in 24 hours. Like it is not.
That's insane.
It's not hard to do at all in this game. I already have like 40, 50 shinies. This is the most shinies I've ever had in a game, and it's way easier than before. Like I always try to like at least get a shiny Lucario on most of the games I play, and like I said, the
Yeah.
older versions of it I don't get it through my first playthrough sometimes. Like that's how bad it is. Like, and you obviously know this that you play them,
Yep.
but like the new one, obviously, it's like very much like a you load into like the like they have like the respawn thing. You kind of just keep fast traveling over and over and over to the same area until like it refreshes it. I mean, it could take you 30 minutes to get a shiny. It could take you a couple weeks to get a shiny, but you're gonna get it in this game. It's not hard, and I think people need to realize, like you said, I just think people need to realize it's also for children. Like kids want to get shinies.
Yeah.
Like I get, like people want it to be gate kept. People want it to be like something that's rare, but at the same time, it's like that you still can IV hunt. Like come on, like look at something new. Like you can IV hunt. You know,
Yeah.
you could try to get like they added alphas to this game. That's something that's not easy. Like they still added something for like us. Like if I don't, if I guess shinies are like more like you said, like they're easier. All right, like I said, I mean they're easier. So I don't think it's like a hate thing. I don't think you should hate them and be like, oh, they're not special no more, because there's still the opportunity for you to get like a shalfa, like a an alpha shiny,
Yeah.
and that's just as hard as getting old shinies. That system is similar to the old Pokemon way. So if you want something harder, go for like an alpha shiny. Like it's not easy to
Yeah.
get those, and so they still gave something for you too. I just think people find reasons to complain about games, and I just think people. It's like you said, games are innovating. I think games are changing. You want these games to change. I also think like for a long time people were saying that games were becoming too competitive, which they are. I mean, like it, like
Yeah.
Call of Duty back in the day. Like this is the Call of Duty debate. Like people were like, "Oh, I miss the old CODs." I just don't think it's the games themselves were not what you miss. It's the time period of the people who played the game. Like everyone felt like I could play like casually and like drop a nuke. Now it's like every game I play with skill-based matchmaking, I'm not dropping a nuke. Everyone's scumpy. Like everyone's shooting
Yep.
straight. Everyone's trying hard. The fun of games is out of the window, and I think that's like what people got to realize. Like FPS games, everyone is no longer playing for fun. Everyone's playing because they want to be a streamer. Everyone's playing because they want to do YouTube videos. Everyone wants to
Yep.
be the best, and that's like what people need to realize. And now that these games are trying to cater more to casuals, it's like reverse psychology. Like people hated that games were too sweaty. They give us like a casual solution, like the shinies, like I just said in the Pokemon example. Like they made shinies a casual thing, and now people hate it. It's like, bro,
Yep.
like what could you do to make this game? Well, what could you do to make it better? Like, why would you
Yep.
not just want shinies? Like, who cares if it's easy to get a shiny? Would you not want to have a whole shiny team? Like that's what I don't get. Like you could beat this game and your whole team can be shiny, and you can access your shiny team before you even do your first playthrough. Some people are still playing X and Y,
Hmm.
still shiny hunting on Twitch for their favorite Pokemon because it hasn't dropped.
Yeah.
Like that's it's just insane. Like you like they just find things to complain about. It's like it's so crazy though. Like it's like the Giga Chads that just complain about like everything, and that's just gaming culture. Like
Yeah, yeah. Sadly, it's gotten to that point.
yeah, it's crazy. Other than that, that was our topic for this podcast. I think we can go ahead and wrap it up. We've been yapping for a fat minute. We do appreciate all y'all coming back. All of Shinobi's stuff will be in the description below. We want to let you guys know that we're gonna try to upload like every Friday. We're gonna try to come up with different themes for you guys. So we give us the whole week to record. We're gonna try to get you guys an episode, like I said, every Friday. We might miss a Friday or two, but I promise you it won't go away. I've been wanting to do a podcast, and he is someone who is interested in doing it. I just needed a co-host. I didn't want to do it alone, so I'm thankful for him stepping up. And I'm gonna let him say a couple words before we sign out.
Um, Peace, I guess. Yeah. I wanted to do it because like, I mean, yeah, I get it. There's a lot of podcasts out there, but like, sometimes you just need something to get in the background, and it's not, no political thing. It's just two homies chopping it up about whatever's going on, whatever's on our minds. So if you're into that, like you said, we're gonna be probably just mainly focusing video games, but kind of breaching out into other creative like realms of like music and like what's going on, movies, TVs, and all that. So yeah, if you're interested, sub up, hit the bell icon, like, and all that good stuff.
Yep. And now that we're both on PC, we're actually also guests are now more obtainable. So we'll also try to see if we can get some other friends and or guests on the podcast. But other than that, it has been the Overnight Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys in the next one.